Hi all, welcome to another session of System Design by SP Skills. Today we are going to do a mock interview where Ankur would be a interviewer and Shri Prasad would be a candidate. So with this, I would like to give it over to Ankur and Shri Prasad.
Yes, hi. My name is Ankur. I'm the interviewer today, and I gave an I conducted an interview last time in system design. I got a lot of feedback, so I'm trying to interview again and improve my skills how to interview system design. So that's it. Uh, Sri, you want to give any background about you?
Sure. Hi, my name is Sri Prasad. I'm working at a startup here in SF.
Okay, and you said you have 10 years of experience on the backend, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So according to that, I've chosen my question. So it's the question is I want you to design Uber. Okay, and basically in designing Uber, I want you to design two APIs. One is so there are two entities here, rider and driver. So as a driver, I open my app. I want to see all the nearest drivers. So that's the first API. And second API is has a rider. As a rider, I want to see all the drivers which are near to me. So as a rider, I want to see all the drivers next to me. And as a driver, I should be able to update my location.
Okay. So what you're telling is, so let me go a step behind. So what you're telling is, you want to design Uber backend specifically, and mainly you are looking at two APIs. That API functionality is as a this API is for one is for rider and one is for driver. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So as a rider, you want to book Uber. So when you say get nearby, then you want to see all the riders who are next to you.
Drivers.
All the drivers that are next to you. Yeah.
Yes.
So you want to get nearby. So this returns basically list of driver IDs, or do you want to know the location also? Just the driver IDs?
Yeah.
What is your intent?
Yeah. Basically, I want you to show them on the app.
So you want to show like a map, and okay. So basically, this will return driver profiles, not profiles, driver IDs and locations.
Yes, and on the app, I should be able to see the cars moving also. Once I've fetched the nearby drivers.
Okay, so you're not in. You just want to see. You're not at this point worried about booking an app, booking a driver, or anything.
No, nothing.
Just showing a list of drivers and their locations. And as the driver moves, the locations needs to be updated.
Yes. So in case if you are done with this early, then we can go into the more detail, for example, booking and everything. But right now, just these two APIs.
Okay. So as a driver, you want to log in and you want to keep on updating location.
Yes. As a driver, I open my app. So whenever I come in, I start my Uber that I want to start driving. Then my app has started, and then every 3 or 5 seconds or whatever your functionalities or how you've designed, you should be able to the mobile should be able to send its location and keep its location up to date.
Okay. Yeah. So basically update location.
Yes.
Do you know okay, update location for the driver and update location for the rider? Okay. Okay. So this is the two APIs that you want me to design. Anything else about the system that you can share? This is only the requirement. So what is a nearby location means? What does that mean?
So that is something that you have to design. For example, how nearby means. Don't worry about how nearby, but you should have you should have that dynamicness in your app that you can search for 1 mile. You can also the rider can zoom out and search for drivers in 5 miles, 2 miles, 100 miles. Sorry, not 100 miles. So maybe 10 miles. So that should be dynamic.
Okay, so what do you search for the driver? They're searching for just 1 mile location by default.
You can say default, yeah, 1 mile. I mean that is set by your app. You don't as a driver, as a rider, I don't do that. I just open my app and that is set by the Uber app.
Okay, what
The
happens if
default
there
is
are what happens if there are no drivers? What do you do?
don't show anything.
Don't show anything. Okay.
Either don't show anything or you zoom out and show. I mean, if you're in, let's say you're in San Diego and you're, I don't know what location you're at, but if you're not seeing any drivers, there's no reason of zooming out and showing drivers which are like far, maybe 100 miles away, because
Oh.
then the user might not even be interested. Just show nearest neighbors. I mean, nearest drivers. Maybe you can show 100, like based on your calculation, maybe drivers who are 100 miles, but that depends upon the implementation.
Okay, sure.
So you have to design it.
Okay, sure. So let's see. I have some idea of the requirements. So this is.
Yeah, ask if you have. I mean, if I'm not clear.
Yeah. I will keep on asking, but
Yeah.
for now, I think I have a little bit idea of where and what. And I'm assuming that this is the functional requirement. Non-functional, I'm assuming non-functional requirements. I'm assuming the app should be highly scalable. Once you search, it should be durable. Once you search, as in once you update the location, that location should be durable.
Durable in the sense?
The data that you are updating, the location that you're updating, it should be saved.
It's fine. I mean, if you're, does it mean that if the driver is sending its location and if you miss a few locations, that's not bad? That's bad.
No, that's not bad. That's not what I mean. I'm saying that it should be updating, and that suppose the driver stops for some time and just sends the location, that location should be there on my system always. It should not be lost. When the driver is moving, the location of the driver that is being sent, it should be saved on the system somewhere so that I can keep on tracking. This is necessary because if some other rider calls, then I can show what is the closest location to him. And there are two parallel riders, then both of them should get the nearest location of the drivers, and it should be highly available. Consistency, I can little bit take it, like you said, if it's like little bit too far away, it should be fine, but it's not like make a big difference in the distance. Does it make sense?
Say again, consistency. You're talking.
If the app should be available at almost all the times, at all the times. That's more important for me. If it's slightly delayed, it's fine, but it should be available all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking in terms of.
Just 1 second. 1 second. Can someone? Okay, 1 second. Okay. No worries. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if anything else I'm missing, but right now this is what I'm thinking. It should be highly scalable. It should be durable. It should be available. You can slightly take a hit on consistency. But for now, I think it should be fine. Do you know how many users are there for this application? Can I assume that it's around 500 million customers?
500 million. So do you think Uber has like 500 million? So do you mean 500 million? Do you think 500 million have registered Uber?
500 million customers, as in
like
500 million riders.
I mean, for example, the scale of internet is like around. I mean, if you see Facebook, there are 1.5 billion people on Facebook. Do you think 1/3 of them use Uber?
I'm trading for long term.
Long term.
So
Okay.
I mean, if you have any number in mind, or if you have some other
No, just your
constraints,
estimation.
then yeah,
I don't
I'm
have any
assuming
numbers.
that.
Just
Okay, and I'm assuming that there are around 300 to 500 million users,
okay. So
million
these are okay.
riders.
Long term.
Yeah, riders.
Hmm.
And say less than that should be the number of drivers. So these are the number of riders. Say less than that is say 1 million. 1 million drivers,
Yes,
maybe.
sir. Yeah. Wait.
And almost
Just
all
hold
of
on.
them does not. Almost all of
Just
them
hold
does
on,
not take.
Sri.
Okay.
Wait. One second. I think there is some bot here. I think I need to remove that.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah. Done. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Not all of them are riders. There are like I don't know, less than that. Say 500k daily active riders who actively use Uber every day. And because you have 1 million drivers, I'm assuming equivalently you have 1 million daily rides. Maybe I'm assuming one driver assumes takes one ride, but it could change later on. But that's what I'm thinking. Around 1 million rides. And suppose the every driver update the location to some endpoint. In this case, update location endpoint.
Hmm.
And that driver keeps on updating location, say every 3 to 4 seconds. Say 4-second update location.
So you mean so 1 million drivers all are updating their locations every 4
They
seconds?
are up every 4
Okay.
seconds. Okay. The reason why is that when the rider asks for a new ride, then the whatever is the backend system, they will look at our backend servers to determine what is the closest location for the given user, and he should be able to get the nearest closest drivers in that area. That also means that when a user searches for a given when a rider searches for a car or an Uber, he has to also send his own location, so that I'll be able to find out which is closest to me.
So that is all about trip management. So we're not worrying about that. Like trip management, rider sends its own location. We're not worrying about that. All we worry about is two APIs: update location by the driver, and as soon as the rider opens his app, show the nearest drivers and the
to show
the
the
rider can
nearest
zoom in, zoom out.
correct. To show the nearest location, the rider should also send his location.
Yeah.
That's independent of the trip management, is what I'm trying to say.
That's right.
Okay. For storing the location, you can use like Quadtree or anything like that for storing the location. But I will come to that in some time. But this is what I'm trying to say. Every driver. So I'm going to go with the update location first, and then I'll go with the update location API first, and then I will talk about finding nearby. So what I'm trying to say is if this update location, this is a post request, and this sends driver ID. This sends location, which is a lat and a launch. And this keeps on sending every location. He can also store the past location that was sent earlier. So you can say location now and location 3. which is again a lat and long. So this will allow me to update the current location of the driver. So this is a string basically, and this is again a lat and a long, which is I'm assuming is a string. So this is from the app. Every time you update, you call the update location, you will pass in the driver ID, the current location, and the previous location. The previous location will be empty if you are starting base case. Otherwise, you keep on like updating the location every time, every 4 seconds. So if you assume that the driver is like this is like 3 bytes or 4 bytes for the driver ID. Your lat and long is basically 64, so 8 bytes. So this is like 8 bytes. Same thing for here, 8 bytes, and same thing here, 8 bytes. So total, how many get? 8 4 so 32 plus 4 36. I'm assuming like 36 to 36 bytes. Let me just put it like 40 bytes for 40 bytes in total. Every second he's sending, every 4 seconds he's sending like 40 bytes of data to the backend. This is every 4 seconds. Every 4 seconds he's sending. He means the driver is sending 40 bytes of data back to the.
So what does the data model look like for the whole for both the APIs?
Okay.
Like yeah, you send a driver ID lat long, but what is your data model looking like?
I'm looking like it's a quad tree.
What is a quad tree? How did quad tree come into being?
That's the data model that I'm choosing for representing the grid of locations. So if you look at,
but that is not a data model. I'm talking about the data model, not the quad tree or data structure. Data model.
Where are you going to store the data? Is that what you're asking?
How are you storing? Like, what is your schema, sir?
What is my schema?
Yes.
Okay. So
like you have writer and driver, right? So what are the things are you storing? What is the schema looking like?
Okay. Let me walk and come to that point. I'll definitely share the schema, but if you want to go specific, I'm going to go with either a SQL location, SQL based database, which I have a location ID lat and long, and the driver ID for storing. But I will not be using that for updating the location each time. I'm using the quad tree, which I'm going to use as the cache as a cache for the database. But I will come to that in some time. Hold on for 1 second, if that is okay with you.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So once you send this data, this data goes through. So you have the driver who updates the location, and this will need to go through a load balancer. This is where I'm thinking that there should be some kind of an app server which talks to some kind of a quad tree, and I'm thinking that this can be backed by a database with some data model. So this is the high level thing that I am thinking of. I'm not yet there yet. In terms of database itself, I can have like a location ID, a lat and a long, maybe some kind of a description, and I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This description, I don't know whether it works because you're constantly moving. So I can just say lat and long and the driver ID because I don't have a location ID at this point. So I can have like a driver ID at this point. So this is what I'm trying to save in the database each time. But if I save the database each time, I get the data from the user who comes in every 4 seconds, that would not be scalable. That's why I am thinking that I will update into whenever the driver gives me a location, it goes to the app server and I update into the quad tree. And this quad tree is like backed by a database which gets persisted every in batch updates of every like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. But your main quad tree is where you store the data, which can be used for giving the location of the driver in real time to the rider who's looking for the location. Does it make sense?
So you said that you're transferring 40 bytes every 4 seconds, and you said there are 1 million users. So
yes.
So what is the throughput?
Yes.
Like how many writes per second is happening? And so what's the throughput and what's the like number of writes per second that are happening?
I mean, this is like what I said, 40 bytes of data. So let me bring this. We're jumping to things actually, but let's go now. Come back to this 40 bytes. So you have 40 bytes of data which is sent per second. Okay. So how many users you've got? You've got 1 million users, 1 million rides. Okay, per day. 1 million rides per day. So that means for what happened? Are you writing something?
No, I think this is because of some bot.
I didn't do this. I don't know what.
I know this problem. Wait one second. I think someone needs to disable annotation on Zoom because this is see what you can do is you have to like stop your screen share again, start, and this red lines will go, and then someone will have to disable annotation.
I can fix it. Give me a sec. Okay.
So Sri, the reason I was talking about 1 million the riders per day per second is because you said that the request goes from the app server directly to the quad tree, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know, like, is this your high like architecture or
yeah, that's my high level architecture.
But if you have a lot of writes that are happening per second, isn't that like going to put a lot of stress on your app server? And since a lot of writes are happening, you're also reading, right, at the same time. Like
I'm going to stop my share and do it once more. I think again it happened. I don't know.
Yes,
why.
exactly. Yeah, someone has to stop the annotation as well.
No, I couldn't
only
find in the security to stop annotation. But
I used to do that.
No, I can't see that unfortunately right now. But
yeah,
I think it's a user W. I saw if W you are not, if it is by mistake, then you can skip that. But otherwise, if it is happening in
I already evicted one already.
Asim?
Yes.
There is one participant, suspend participant activities. I don't know if you want to try that. I don't know what activities that means.
No, I can't see that. I can only see share. I only have a allow list, not a block list here.
No, Zoom will have a feature
in which... Could you guys please pause the recording and then solve this?
Okay, go ahead, folks.
Yeah. So, second. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'll have a load balancer which goes through an app server, which passes it to. I mean, there are multiple app servers over here. I just drew one, but it will pass through into a quad tree, and that will be connected to a database. This quad tree, I just have a representation, but basically what it means. Oh, again it came. So, something that I did, or
no, not you.
There is still somebody there.
It is a bot.
Hold on, let me pause the record.
So if I zoom out of this quad tree internally, what I am thinking of is like you
So
will have.
Sri, before you even talk about quad tree, I want to talk about the data model.
Okay.
Like, okay, you have a rider table, you have a driver table, you have your location table. So how are they sitting? Are they same table or are they different tables for each of them? That is what I want you to like talk about first.
So you want to go into
Because
the
after
database.
API, you
Okay.
talk about data modeling, right? For the high level architecture.
Okay, I can do that. So if you have a rider table, you have a location table, and you have a driver table. Okay, these are the high level table that I'm thinking of when in modeling. You have a rider, just got like name, current location. I'm not going into details like address and things like that. That this user profile basically. I'll have a profile ID where I can store all the profile of that user. I don't even have the name, and you have the current location where he's currently located, and he's looking for starting and ending destination basically. But right now you said you don't want to look at current destination. You just want to know who are closer to me. So we just need to send the current location. For this is not even stored basically until you start a ride, but this is what I have in mind in case the rider looks for a Uber and then he clicks on, okay, I want to start a location. I want to start a ride. You have date, updated time, basically. Driver is a separate table. I have a again profile ID, which is a profile location.
So my question would be, why a different table for rider and driver? Why not the same?
Then I have to specify what type of person is it a driver or is it a driver, a rider? Like I want to distinguish between the two. And the rider is not like a person who's constantly moving, right? Rider is like a constant person. That is what my assumption is. Driver is one.
And what's the profile ID?
Profile ID is basically your another table which contains the profile information of the driver and the of the person basically.
Okay, so you mean these? So these tables that you draw, driver and rider and driver, these are the location table.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the location table, and you have a different user table for profiles.
Yeah. So
okay, and
yeah.
Okay, so okay, so
this
wait,
is basically
so
for keeping the location of both the driver and the driver. That's all.
And you have different tables for driver location and rider location.
No, I'll have only one location table. Why I need to have a different table? Location is only just one.
No. So you have one
let me,
table.
Let me draw it one more time so that it's more clear.
Can you draw the profile table as well?
Sure. So right now, what I have in my mind is location, which is your profile ID, your lat, your long. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. Just lat and long and the profile ID. And whether it is this is driver ID and driver ID can be like a user type, which is D or which is like D or R for rider or driver, just the user type. And profile is basically another table which contains your name, user type, if I need it, and some other location like billing details, billing ID and bank details and bank ID, something like that, which will separate table, but mainly registered on active or inactive status, etc. Just those information. Sure.
Okay, so you have one profile, name, user, and this is common for driver and the rider. And same location table also is common.
Yeah. I don't have multiple
Okay.
tables, just one
Okay, so
location table which contains both.
Okay, so my
user
question is, so I'm just trying to like
Go
understand your
ahead.
thought
Yeah,
process, right?
yeah.
Like two questions. First is what is the advantage, disadvantage of having the location inside the profile, like having profile and location in the same table,
I
right?
need to update. I'll tell you that right now. That
No,
means
so that is my first question. Second
okay.
question is for the location table that you just draw. Okay, fine. You have two different profile, location different. But you said that location table also is common for riders and drivers.
Okay.
Why you want to have the same table for for drivers and the riders? Why not keep them also separate? Like, what is the advantage and disadvantage of each?
Okay. The advantage of keeping it as a separate location, as a location table and a profile table, in my opinion, was that the location table needs to be updated every like 4 seconds. So the profile will not get updated like that. Profile, like once you create, then maybe at the end of the day, either you the driver stops being an Uber driver, so he just becomes status as inactive, or he continues and some other person comes in. Location gets updated every 4 seconds. So the number of records for the location and the number of changes for the location is much more than the number of changes that is required for the profile. That's why I want to keep it as separate. I want to keep it as separate. What was the second question?
Second question is, you just draw the location table and you're saying that I'll have the same location table for driver also and rider also. I mean, I'll have user type as D and R. My question is, why not separate as a driver location table and a rider location table?
I see. I was thinking that I can put an index on the user type, and later on, if I want to find out based on the user type and the profile ID, and later on, if I want to find out, hey, give me all the location of this user, of this rider in the past, like for example, for billing purposes. After I finish my order,
Yeah,
I
so
have
user
an order
ID is
history.
unique, right? The user ID is unique, right? Yeah.
User ID is unique. Why do I need to separate it in two different tables? Is my question. Like, why can't I have it in one table where I have a profile ID and user type? Now, what is the advantage of me putting it in a separate table to fetch the information, which is just once? I can store it in some cache somewhere else and then keep the data in the same location of the both location table for both the profile type driver and rider. I don't see an advantage of putting it.
So my question is, you said that we need we are designing Uber. We need high availability. You said we have 500 million users. So is that one country, one continent, one city, one village? Like like how
That's a good
how in
question.
the world?
I'm trying to do it only for right now US location, inside US.
You said
in one
500
country.
million users.
Yeah, because there can be more than one driver that happens in one day, and they are not going to do it like more than you can have two riders riding. I mean, one rider having more than one Uber per day. So you'll have around 1 million rides, I'm thinking.
No. So my question. So you're saying that we are designing Uber for only United States.
Right now, that was what I had in mind. Yeah.
Okay. So that so what about, so how are, so you said that you're having one table for the location wherein you're storing the driver also and the rider also,
Sure.
right? Sure. What if today I'm in Bellevue, like in Washington State, but tomorrow, let's say I have an onsite in San Francisco and I'm going to San Francisco, right? Or let's say I'm going to the East Coast for an interview. I'm trying to hail an Uber ride.
Okay.
So, where is your data center? And how are you making sure that I have less latency for the rider? So you're obviously going to store rider information in multiple places, right?
Oh, so you are telling like, how do I scale it out to multiple? Okay, I see your point. That one I can do consistent hashing with rider ID.
No. My question is, sorry,
ID.
maybe I'm not clear. My point is that you're so if you're you said you need availability, you need durability, you want I mean, you said that is your requirements, right? So you're not going to have what do I say, rider information in only one place. You're going to duplicate it in some other location as well, right?
Sure.
Right. What about
Sure.
the driver? What about the driver? Now, if a driver has registered only in San Francisco, are you going to store his information also in San Diego or on the East Coast?
No,
His
I will
location
not.
table.
No.
Why?
That one I will not. Yeah.
Yeah, you will
That
not,
one,
right? So why? Yeah. So why do you
shard,
want?
I can shard it by the driver ID. I mean, I can shard it by the location basically, and have all the users. But the thing is, the driver can also go to another location also, right? The same driver can go
Driver.
to another location. Same driver
Where
can
can
go
you
to
go
another
from West Coast to
location.
East Coast? But what's the probability of that?
I mean, it's not like the same probability of having multiple riders going into different from East Coast to West Coast. A driver can also go to another location. I don't. My intention is to not keep location as the primary shard key. I'm trying to look it as a driver ID or some kind of an ID which is sharded. So maybe he goes into a different location and you need to change the data. But how much of data are you going to change? The location will get updated when you move from San Francisco to New York or some other place to another
So
place.
would you want to store riders location in Asia? Okay, you said now you are designing for United States. Tomorrow Uber goes to all over the world. Would you be storing like, okay, let's say rider.
This is mainly a table which I've not talked about sharding. So I can have a location ID which I can shard it by different locations so that it gets updated each time when the user changes location. I didn't put a location ID over here, but when we are going scale, you can always put a location ID and shard it by the location ID. Location ID, you can say, is a random ID that is generated based on your location. So that way we can shard it based on location and still get the possibility. Even if you say that, okay, you are going from one West Coast to another East Coast, still the amount of data or amount of delay, you're still serving like 99% of the users, best case scenario, only for one user you will have a bad experience. That is fine, I would say.
But you're still storing the information in all the like all over the world. If the driver changes location, you are making sure that the location is updated across all the data across whole world, right?
Why? No, I'm not saying that. Why should I copy over the location of West Coast when the driver is on the East Coast? Like that is previous location, right? Like I don't need to keep track of history of like how where the
not
data.
History. I'm not talking about history. I'm telling about the update of his current location.
Yes, that is based on location ID is what I'm trying to say. Location ID is based on the current wherever is the zone, whether it is East Coast or West Coast or some other place. So I can have all the location in one shard by the location, and then use that as my sharding key when you want to fetch the driver information. So that when the driver moves location, you'll get a new sharding ID and all the previous location. If he wants to fetch that information, you can still fetch it. There will be some slightly delay. Did I answer the question?
Wait, I'm still trying to understand. So location, what is location ID? Location ID?
Location ID is a shard based on your location. Like for example, you can be in East Coast, you can be on West Coast, or you can be in some other coast. In this case, I'm just assuming that East Coast and West Coast, for example. So all the users in that location will be sharded to by that location ID. So that if you are in East Coast, you will be going to store all your lat and long data on the East Coast data center or on the West Coast data center if you're on the West Coast. Thereby, you're not like copying data.
Okay. And okay, so you have the same table for the location table. And okay.
And my point is
okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, let's move on to. I mean, I got your. I just wanted to see your thought process into deciding whether one table or multiple tables. That's fine. So okay, so you're done with the data model. You said you have a profile, a single user table profile, and then you have a separate location table because location since they're updating a lot, you want to have a different table, right?
Yeah. Ideally, what I'm trying to say is when a location information comes from the user, say this is the user. When you get that location, I'm thinking that it will go to an load balancer that will goes to some app server, and that goes to a quad server, which stores the information in some cache, and then updates your quad tree. And this
But
information is now. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
This
Wait,
information is now backed by a database. The reason why is that this cache is where you can get the data fast for a user. So if I want to, if this is for a driver, and if I am a user or a writer, to get
So
that
first of all,
information.
okay, wait. So you said, okay, my mind is stuck with quad tree. Okay, that is what I want to push this discussion to. Okay, why a quad tree? Like, how did you do? Why did you come up with like deciding I want to go
It's
with
a
quad tree?
standard structure for storing location data to find out where the.
No, let's say I tell you not to. Okay, let's say you're using Yelp, right? We do still use a quad tree.
Let's say you're using Yelp. What did you say? I did not get you.
Yeah, Yelp. I mean, my location is not changing a lot. So, I mean, why? Okay, you said it's a standard solution, but
My
why? I mean, let's say
location.
I tell you not to use a
Standard
quad tree.
solution. Okay, you're telling me not to use a quad tree. Okay.
I just want to get more like points from you, like discuss, like why a quad tree? Like I want to know, like why a quad tree? Why not a? Because if you're saying it's a standard solution, you must have known, like learned why a quad tree. What if you don't use a quad tree? What is happening? I want to know that.
Okay, so the reason why you are using a quad tree is every location in Earth can be represented by a lat and long, like this. So this will be one lat and long. So if you tell like one position, one point P, you're going to represent that as a say 1 meter into 1 meter location, and this way you have one point P represented in a 1 meter by 1 meter point as an XY coordinate, for example, in a tree. And then when you want to, so this will be like a 1 meter by 1 meter tree size. If you want to expand it and to have more data, then you can say that, okay, I may have like a 1 mile by 1 mile, 1 mile by 1 mile. And now this will have a more lat and long in the representation, and you'll have more surface that's covered by this blocks as in like this block. And you can store this representation as a tree structure, so that if you want to say, hey, give me a nearby location to my location, so you are at this point, for example, and you want to find out more location to nearby to this point, then you will look in this structure and say, hey, give me another 1 mile around this area. And now you know all these areas that are closer to me. And that's how I can get information who are closer to me to find out the drivers who are closest to me. That's the reason why I'm using a quad.
So, okay, so if you go to the other API wherein the rider opens the app and he's trying to figure out all the nearest drivers, all you're going to say is my load balancer app goes to the quad server, and server returns all the locations.
No,
drivers. Is that?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. This quad tree is for storing it. I'll have a cache which stores the latest information of the user. So I can say that, okay, I am a driver. Give me all the location that is close to me. So, if, for example, if I have it stored in my cache, my driver ID and your lat and long closest to me. So for a given driver, so the given rider who comes in, he can look at the cache and say, okay, this is the cache. Give me one. Let's say you hash the lat and long and say, give me the one that is closest to this lat and long in the cache. You get that information. This cache is being updated by the quad tree every time. But for a rider who comes in, he wants to get the information. He'll just directly fetch the information from the cache and return it back immediately. That's
what are you storing? Okay, wait. Okay, let's hold on 1 second. So
you keep on updating your cache. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're updating the location. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get back to update location. So you're saying, okay. So how are you? And your quad server is obviously it is sharded. replicated, partitioned, right?
That is true.
Right. Okay. So you okay. Let's say driver one, he wants to update his location. You get his lat long. You get his driver ID. So can you show me how from the app? How does it? Okay, you have quad servers all over the world, or let's say all over US. How? So you said you said that you're doing sharding based on location ID. But let's say some person is in. Okay, let's say a driver is in San Francisco, right? Okay, let's say I'm the driver, I'm in San Francisco. I switch on my app, I'm updating my location. Now from there, what is happening? Like it goes to the app.
That
then
is
what?
true. I'll tell you. When you are switching on your app as a rider, then it will send, the app will send the location of the current location of the rider after authentication and other things basically.
Yeah, yeah. So you have the driver ID.
Driver ID. So we're talking about rider, not driver.
Oh, sorry. Not rider. I'm talking about driver.
Okay, sure. So you open up
driver.
the app. Okay. After authentication, the driver will send, he's updating his location, current location, and your driver ID information. It will go to the cache, will update the quad tree. Okay. It's just going to the cache. This is going to happen every 4 seconds. Every 4 seconds, you'll just blow off whatever is there in the cache, you update the quad tree. Now another driver comes, same thing will happen. If a rider comes and tells, okay, I'm a driver, he opens the app, he's going to look at his current location and send that current information to the server. That is for fetching nearby drivers. When he sends the current location, he can look at this quad tree to determine, hey, given this lat and long, give me all the location of the nearby driver IDs and send that information back. This is getting updated every time. So tomorrow you can have like more number of drivers in this area, or this rider going away.
One second. Hold on. I'm still, wait, 1 second. I'm still trying to understand how the app and the quad server are talking to each other, right? Okay. That is what I'm talking about. So driver opens his app, you know his driver ID, you know his lat long, right? So, yes. Okay. And you said you're doing some sharding based on location ID, and your location ID is the region, right?
Yeah.
So East Coast is one region, West Coast is one region, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the driver ID, okay, you're also storing in your DB? That's what you said, right? You're storing the location in your DB as well.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you're going to?
I'll have the profile ID, right, of the driver.
Okay. So you're going to search by the driver ID.
No. I'm going to search by lat and long closest to me. Searching by profile driver ID.
Update.
Oh, update the location. Here. Sure. Update. Yeah. You will update profile
so
ID.
You said you're sending in driver ID. You're sending lat long. That's all.
Lat long and the driver ID. The driver ID will be in the profile ID here.
Yeah. So you're searching with the driver ID and you go to the table and you're updating it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. That is what you said, right? So where is the? So how are you trying to? How is your app figuring out where have you stored this driver's information?
I didn't understand. Why should I update the driver information? Driver information is already there, like name, user type,
driver's location.
So here is the table where you're storing the profile ID, lat and long of the driver. So you can store this information every 4 seconds. It's just inserting. There's no updating here. Always we're inserting. I just don't want to update.
Oh, you're only inserting.
Yeah, I'm just inserting. Okay, I just need to know. Where is the current location? I'm just inserting it by. I can remove the location or the after every say half an hour. I can just remove the information or remove the lat and long that has happened previously from the location table.
Okay. So and there's no so on the location table there's no sharding happening, no partition, nothing is happening.
That is based on the location ID. I didn't write it, but there is a location ID over here. There is a location ID. This is going to be same. It's going to be partition based on this location. That's why I didn't write. But this location ID will tell you whether you are in which coast or the other coast.
Okay, so always if so mostly so 99% of this time the driver is going to be in San Francisco, and always his information is always so if San Francisco has 10,000 drivers, or 10,000 drivers, and they're updating 4 seconds. So all that information is going into San Francisco location. They
Yeah,
are going to hit them hard.
yeah. What do you mean
Hit them hard. Like rides are
What do
happening
you
on
mean?
that San Francisco location.
Yeah, you mean hit them hard means you're telling that more rides
Like-
are going to happen.
Yes, for San Francisco
Okay.
location.
Okay, same thing for any other location as well. But San Francisco location, if you take as an example, yes, rides are going to happen in the SF location.
A lot. And for example,
Yeah.
if let's say we are talking about
Both-
Iowa,
this is
not
both,
many drivers.
Sure, this is both read and write heavy functionality. You are updating and as well as you are reading, depending on the, I'm not talking about surge, this thing and all, but depending on the location. So New York City will have a lot of riders that is going and a lot of drivers that is going. So you told about Iowa. Maybe not that much of location. So you'll have less number.
So
Maybe
there
at
are going
that
to be
time,
hotspots.
at that time, I can also shard it by the day or the number of the day of the week. So you'll have one for Monday, one for Tuesday, like that. And the previous days, I can just remove it because you don't need the previous day's location information for any purposes. You're just going to update every time for the given day.
Okay. So you figured that out. You said that. Fine. And okay. And the updates are coming every 4 seconds, right?
Updates are coming every 4 seconds. That is correct.
And you are writing new records. You're not deleting old records.
I'm not deleting any records. I'm just inserting.
Okay. So what? So if a rider comes in and rider is trying to find out all the latest locations, how are you going to figure out what is the latest location
that's
of
where
a
my
current driver?
quadry. Yeah, that's where my quadry will come into play to determine what is given a lat and long. Give me all the location of the users who are nearby to me. That's where he will. That's the place where I will say you are giving me what kind of search criteria. In this case, it could be 1 mile, it could be 10 miles, it could be 100 miles. Given 1 mile, that means my quadry range will be, instead of 1 meter, it will be like 1 mile. And now I look, here is your location of the current rider and give me all the ones who are nearby. And I will get that information. This is going to be updating all the time. But for a given driver location, here is the, at this second, here is all the driver who are nearby to you. And that way you will get all the information. I did mention that you're going to use the location. You're also going to use the date as your main shard, so that you can also shard by, like, you don't have that many number of shards by location and date. So that's one additional thing which I did not write here, but that's what I meant. Let me also write that part.
Okay. Okay. So I think you've covered. Okay. So now I'm still going back to update now, since we are talking, because you said inserting. So searching is easy. Go to Quadtree. Quadtree is going to figure everything out. So the main logic is going to be here in updating, right? So you have so for a single driver, or let's say San Francisco. Let's talk about San Francisco, right? Now you have an app. I mean, you have the app. A lot of updates are coming in, right? So let's say your quad server is down. Where are your updates going?
So I'll have a primary and a secondary server that is backing up. So whenever you update into the primary, I'll have the secondary also updated. So if your primary is down, you're going to go to the secondary to get all the data. So that way I'll have high availability, and you would not lose.
Aren't you going to use any sort of queue, PubSub or anything?
No, I'm not right now thinking of anything.
Okay, you have 1 million users. You have 1 million drivers.
Okay.
Right, 1 million drivers into 4 seconds.
Queue is a thing that you need to use when you want to have like sort of a not like in this particular scenario, queue will not be helpful because you need real-time information and you need static information of the from the rider's point of view, but updating information from the driver's point of view. That means lat and long. So you want to get instant information from the Quadtree. In this case, the cache also is behind you, and you'll get that information. I don't see a useful scenario where you can put a pub sub model over here. Yeah, sure. On one place you can maybe is like if your database is down and you want to put a pub sub model where you want to update your DB with a queue so that in case your database is down, you can retry. Sure, you can put one over here. But other than that, I
So-
don't see a realistic scenario where
Okay,
you're
so you're
updating
saying that quad server is partitioned by the location ID.
location
right?
ID and date. Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Okay, location and by date. And
Yeah.
all your updates are coming in for San Francisco and or let's say California updates are coming in based on the day. So every day is going to be okay, you're just redistribute. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's going
Monday.
to
Okay. So
redistribute
Monday,
based
Tuesday,
on-
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
If there is no
So-
data,
Wrap up now. Yeah, just another 2-3 minutes and please wrap up.
Okay. Fine. So where? Okay. So where are the reads happening then? To the quad server?
to the cache backed by the quad.
Cache backed by. So what is stored on the cache?
What is stored on
Okay,
the
okay,
cache
okay.
is-
No worries, no worries. Okay, so your app, quad tree, you have updates happening. So how many minutes do we have more? 2, 3?
Yeah, I mean, I can do
One
after
or
the
2 minutes
interview
more.
also.
We should wrap it up now. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think we can. I think we are done then. I think I got a lot of data points about Sri here. There's a lot of. I mean, Uber is a big problem. I think there's a lot of things that can be done, but I think in 40-45 minutes, I think we did a lot of stuff here. Like, right? So should I give my feedback now?
No.
What Sri?
So I will give another minute to Shiri to wrap up. What
Yeah,
is it?
I mean, I just had to write this one part also where you say you have a rider and you want to get that information. What I had in my mind is you'll have a load balancer which looks up like driver location server or DS server, and basically this looks up the quad tree and cache to get the information and returns back. That is the high level I had in my mind, but that's about it.
But who's managing the cache?
Wait. Let's not go further.
Let's not go into that. Yeah, I can talk about it later.
Shiri, you just finish your flow or anything
Yeah,
else?
that's it for me. Yeah.
So Ankur, we can deep dive a bit later, but officially I have to stop the interview because we can't go beyond. In real interview also we can't go beyond 50 minutes. And the reason
Okay,
we
okay, sounds good.
did 10-8 because there was a disruption in between. We have to stop in between 2-3 minutes. So with this, this interview is officially wrapped up. So now it's for the audience to chime in. So I think how we can do, so let's first audience can give their thoughts, and generally we take interviewers feedback at the end. So before that others could give their thing. And I think how we do, like we start with the candidate to give his opinion, what he thought, and then audience give their feedback, and at the end Ankur can give his feedback.
So you want me to go first?
Yeah. So any thoughts?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have thoughts right now, it's okay. You can chime in later.
Yeah, I didn't. I was just all over the place. I feel like I first. I mean, there were some technical issues, but beyond that, I felt it was. I couldn't. The point I had in my mind, I couldn't tell it in a very structured manner. I had all the thoughts in my mind to explain it properly, but somehow this time I could not order them in a manner that I could tell them in a very structured and methodical way. But that's what I had in my mind. That's it for me.
Okay, cool. And if anything you want to do different next time or something.
I would have told about a high-level methodical process that I'm going to go with first. That here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write an API. I'm going to write the high-level design. I'm going to write the I'm going to write the API, the calculations, backend calculations, high-level design, database scalability. These are the 5 points I'm going to go, and in that order, got a buy-in from the interviewer, and then move forward. stopping in between, like it blocked my thought process in between. When the interruptions happened, like it just, I was jumping over from one thought to another to come to that location. So if I had structured those thoughts earlier and told them beforehand, I could have helped Ankur understand my solution better. That's something which I would have written differently. One thing I did not say or talk about is the testing. How do I test it? What database did I use? Cassandra or MySQL or something, and why I'm choosing the database. For what reason I'm choosing the database. I wanted to explain and explore further on it. Those are the things which I would have done better next time. That's it.
Awesome. So yeah, I think that self-retrospective is the best one. So thank you, Shri Prasad, and yeah, great job, guys, Ankur and Shri Prasad. So with this, I have enabled people can unmute themselves. They can either they have any questions on this design or want to give any feedback to both interviewer and candidate. They can now chime in.
I have a question on the design. Like, what if a driver or a location is something between like a border of two, I mean, let's say it's east and west, and the location of a driver or a person is in just a border of these two locations?
That's a good question. I was thinking of updating in both places so that, I mean, this is only valid for 4 seconds. So assuming that the driver has not stopped and completely switched off the vehicle, the correct updation will happen in another 4 seconds, which is a delay I'm willing to give to the driver. And if he goes beyond a border after 4 seconds, I'll delete the other endpoint, which is on the other side. So that way I'm not losing on data because I'm writing in 2 different places, but still I'm able to, like if there is a driver on one side and the rider is also on that side, then I'll give him that location, but I'm not losing by not writing it and choosing one location or the other.
Why does it matter? Because we have latitude and longitude, right? So even if it is a border or anything, latitude and longitude matter.
But the driver is going to be registered to a particular location, right? So, but let's say he is a person who is in a border of certain east coast or west coast, and then he has to register to a particular location as per this, right? Not based on longitude or latitude, he is going to register his preference or something, right?
Got it.
I mean,
So,
it's sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Okay, carry on, please.
I think
I won't give a.
Sorry,
Sorry,
go ahead. So I was thinking about that problem, right? When someone asked about the border case, that really boils down to how we are sharding, right? It's not related to the registered location of the driver, but the sharding technique that we use. Because when a driver updates his location, it depends on where that location goes and sits in our shard. And if you want to share it across multiple shards, then how are you going to do that? So I had the same question.
I wouldn't worry about that edge case here, because if I write in both shards, I know that it's on the border and I'm going to write it in both shards. That one write is not expensive versus a bad user experience. That one write will write in 2 shards. Okay, let's write into 2 shards. After 4 seconds, I'm going to blow off one of the location. That is still going to not matter, because 99% of my use case is being satisfied and this one use case is not satisfied. And that use case where you're writing to shard to both location is still a better user experience than not writing to one of the shards and thinking that, okay, there will not be any driver or rider on the other side. So
got it. I think your sharding technique should also consider distance factor, maybe, right? The distance between the driver and your the shard which is taking care of a particular region, right? So otherwise you won't be able to know which shard you need to go to, right? You can't just replicate into all shards. You have to selectively choose which shard that you're going to write. So probably you have to use distance or some kind of metric which determines that.
So the way I was thinking of is using the location of the person and the hash of your lat and long to determine like one server which it goes through. So if I am a rider and I am standing in one location and have a lat and long, then I will know, okay, which server I should be looking for the closest information of the drivers nearby. And that's how I'm thinking that, and that will change according to the way you zoom out and zoom in. Based on, say, you are zooming in closer and closer, you will go to a different shard. You go zoom out again and again, that will go to a different shard, so that I can get more information. So I'm replicating all this information across the location and the location as in the hash of lat and long, and the where the person is actually located, and the day to get to know which server I should go to. This is only for 4 seconds of data. After that, it is not valid anyway. So I think that would help to identify like which server it should go to, the request should go to.
So this is from a rider's perspective, right? What you explained right now.
This is from a same question can also go for a driver. It's a location will not change based on a profile.
Yeah,
location information will not.
I had a related question on the data model, right? So why do we need to even store rider's location in the location table?
I was thinking of tomorrow, if I want to know my order history and I want to know where did I catch my Uber from in my billing or something.
Yeah, don't you think that the kind of data model is like over optimized for multiple use cases here? So ideally, if you want to track orders, ideally people would separate out the data. Like it's the concern is different, right? Here, the concern is specifically searching for the nearby drivers. So if you want to put in everything into the same data model, your queries will not be optimized for efficiency.
Sure, that is a valid point. Yeah, that is a valid point. That's a valid point. Another use case I was thinking of was for any kind of data analysis to find out, hey, this location has got more number of riders than another.
So I think that I think this is a valid point. As in, why are we storing the rider location in the locations table? I think there's a valid point because we don't need that. So we'll have a different database for trip management. So all the trip related information will be stored into that. And if you're doing the analytics, you can go into that table. You don't have to go to the location table. You don't even have to store the rider's location. Just store it for drivers.
I have a question here. So when we open the app, I also see where I am. And sometimes when I see that pin, it doesn't show me the correct location that I am at. I've seen that in San Francisco like so many times happening. So I think that's what I thought. Why we need a rider's information stored is because to show you where Uber thinks you are.
But that anyway has to be
mobile is sending, right?
Yeah, that's mobile is sending, right?
The mobile is sending, yes, but if there is not enough like network or there are like too many high rises around you, it doesn't send the correct information. So sometimes I have to like put an address to where I am. So the lat longs are
still
not.
Your lat long goes.
Not my.
Right. Even in that case, your lat long goes, right?
Right, but if there are a location that is not close to me that a driver is, but if I move a certain distance, I can get more drivers. Then maybe without keeping track of where the rider is, I will not be able to suggest to the rider that, okay, you move 10 feet or you move to this point, then there are more drivers in that location. I'm kind of walking around the point, but I see the fact that you don't actually need to store the rider information. I just store it for any kind of tomorrow if I want to keep track of something else. Like I said, more number of drivers are there in point A rather than wherever the rider is currently standing. Then without the rider information, I would not be able to suggest that. Or maybe Uber does not know this location, but Uber knows this main mall, which is closer to me, so I can tell, okay, go to this mall and get an Uber, something like that. That's why I was thinking of keeping track of, and it's not like a lot of data that you would store, just the lat long of the user.
Ankur, my question is like,
But
if you don't store the rider's location, then how you will search the nearest drivers? Like somewhere you have to store the rider's location, right? You have
No,
to have a reference point.
that can be sent in the API call, right?
Yeah,
That can be in the payload.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the request payload can have the rider information, including the lat and the long, and that information need not be persisted. It can be ephemeral. You just fetch the closest driver near to me within the given lat and long, and then return the data. That
Yeah,
will also be helpful if I move, like walk a few distance, and then ask for a new Uber. Then you'll get the new lat and long.
So after listening to discussion, I have a question to both the interviewer and interviewee. So you discussed about if someone goes from San Francisco to Seattle, let's say, or anything like that. So it doesn't matter for me because whenever you open the app only, then only your location is getting tracked. So even if you go to San Francisco or any other location, unless you open the app, nothing changes for that, right? So you won't track the location intermediate. That's what my intention. Am I right?
Actually, I also had that question. I didn't quite get what is the issue when you move from one data center or one East Coast to West Coast. I didn't get that, but like what would be an issue there where you move from one location to another location? Ankur, are you there?
Yeah. So you're moving from one location to the other.
I have one
Ankur,
question.
you are
like,
less audible.
Yeah, I feel like whenever we open an app, I think that one API call updates or kind of sends what is our current location. And that kind of updates as we are talking a rider's location on the DB somewhere.
No, but what if I want to book cab for my friend who is at different city?
But you can always put an address, right? We can always
Yeah,
say
so
point
that's
A
the
to point.
reason. So that's the reason maybe they are not giving you the location when you open the app, because they don't know whether you want to book from here or like somewhere else.
No, but they do. They always give us like from your current location, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
They always
do
give
that,
you the
Yeah, they do current location, or you can tell the location that you want.
Exactly. Then you can change it to whatever, but they always by default has your current location, the from point.
Correct.
Guys, I have another question on the data model. So in the location table, you have a date, right?
Yes, I do have date.
And if I understood right, location is what is used for searching.
Lat and long is used for searching. Yes, lat and long is used for searching.
Yeah, what is the need of historical location when you are searching current drivers?
No, his date is a sharding thing. Like I don't want to keep track of old because I in this model I'm just inserting new location every 4 seconds. So if I have lot of data, like I don't need to know where the driver was previous day. So the date is for sharding so that I can have all the location, all the queries that comes in for one day. Say in this case, like for example Saturday, it goes to one shard, and you get all the information for that day.
Yeah, I got your point, but you mentioned the sharding is based on region, right? Earlier.
Location ID and date.
Yeah.
Location
what are we
ID
trying
and
to achieve by having that kind of starting strategy? Because
so
when it comes to search, right, you need only current location of driver. You don't need historical locations anyway. Even you are restricting for one day, even within one day, that driver would have traveled in so many locations across, right, for past 23 hours. Why do you need to even include them as part of your search, which will unnecessarily complicate your search, right?
Actually,
what you need is only current location of driver.
You are right, absolutely, that I just need current location of the driver. Okay. The reason why I was thinking of having a date is to keep the number of records being searched very less. So if you don't put a date and you put all the records that is coming in, inserting, you don't have a date. You have all the records that is coming in for today, yesterday, day before yesterday, going to one table or one data structure here, right? If I keep a date and I say previous date, just remove it and keep on inserting here, then I can say that the number of records that is being inserted and being searched for is going to be very less, because it's only today's data that I'm going to search for. I'm not going to search for previous day's location. If I don't have that date, then I have all the information, whether it is today, day before yesterday. I'm going to search for all this, say, records for finding out where is my current. In case I need to insert data. In this case, I do need to insert data. That is
the
what
question
my
is. I got your point, but my question is, why do you even store historical data in this table? You can have another table for historical location if you want for tracking.
How would you know that it's a historical location without the date?
No, I'm saying have a separate table with timestamp where you have all the trail of locations of drivers. If you need for any offline analysis or any kind of profiling.
Actually, I didn't understand. That timestamp is your date, right?
Yeah.
So I'm having a timestamp as a date, and that's where I'm using it as a shard.
Why do you shard on data? Let's say like here.
See, the access pattern here is, I think my main question here is the access pattern that we have is search for the driver right now, right? Why to even have a data which is having historical or yesterday's or last month's data in your table?
Yes. And the right
that will be removed, right?
No, irrespective of whether you're removing or not, right? You still have that, you're managing the data as part of the same table. I'm asking what is the need of it?
So I was thinking of having a new shard every day, create a new shard every day so that previous date is gone. So new shard every day at morning 12 o'clock, if I have it, then each record every day will be written to one shard only. Another day comes, a new shard comes in. So that I don't need to copy or remove data at all. I just keep on writing and searching from one shard every day, and automatically every day a new shard will be created and you are fetching only records from that shard. Alternatively, if you don't have that date, for example, then I don't understand how you're going to search, because you are going to have a lot of data inserted and searching.
No, because anyway your sharding is based on region, right? For example, California is a region. And if you have all current locations of drivers and the rider is sitting in somewhere in San Francisco, you are hitting a California shard and searching for all the locations. And anyway, all the records in that shard is current locations of driver. That's what matters for this query.
So isn't it? That's true. But if I have San Francisco only and I have got all the data of San Francisco that is being inserted to one table or one shard, even that is a lot of data, isn't it? I feel it's a lot of data.
No, but that problem is there even with date sharding, right? It's not, that problem is not solved.
It is less.
It doesn't matter whether you have date in your partition or not. It doesn't matter, right? Because if you have current location, the advantage of what I'm seeing is you have only current location and your size of data namespace is much lesser, because you're dealing with only one location per driver, and that's his last location.
Correct. And my thought was
that was my thought.
Records.
Yeah.
I completely understand that from where, like, why you're telling that the date does not offer much in terms
I think
of
one observation I had was with this data modeling, we are trying to cram all the requirements into one single schema. Because in the other discussion also we saw the same thing, right? What was that? Rider ID, rider location, for example. So we tried to put in the same table even the driver's location, and trying to put the historical also in the same table. So we are trying to cram everything into the same data model. Probably I think one feedback I would have given is go by access patterns. What is the access pattern? What is the problem that we are solving here, right? And what is the question? What is the query that we are going to try here? So maybe based on that, we should design the data model. So those are my 2 cents.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point to say. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
I got a question.
One question. Sorry.
So
Yeah,
I
go on.
think, sorry,
I-
we need to
I
hold
need-
on to the questions now.
Yeah, I need to drop off also. So I'll appreciate if you can share any feedback for me.
Yeah, so I
early.
think we can. So how long you have, Shri Prasad?
I have 10 minutes.
Okay, I think we can now give feedback to Shri Prasad first, and then we can give feedback to Ankur. So that's how we can do right away. So,
Should I give first?
Yeah, Ankur, you can go ahead with your feedback.
Yeah. So for Uber, actually, the meat of the problem is about the locations. How are you updating the locations? How are you managing the cache? How is the quad server managing the locations? How the sharding is happening? So I think we missed all of that. So that is what I wanted to focus here. But just mentioning quad server, that didn't give me any data points as to why, how locations are being updated, right? So for example, she draw this map. So this is where the meat is, like how this is happening, how the quad server is managing the locations, updating the locations. Even I think even the sharding based on the location ID, I think that is not correct. It should be based on the drivers, by the driver ID, because if you have San Francisco and you have the same location, it's like you'll be hitting the same date, like server a lot, and then partitioning by date, that will make it very cumbersome. I think if you just start it by server ID, sorry, by the driver ID, in that way you're like distributing each driver, because now you don't even have hotspots, right? So I think we missed the meat of the problem. It is the locations here, managing that. So that is what I was looking for. And but other than that, I found it, I found the other discussion really well. When I asked about why different tables, why same location, I think she was able to like articulate everything. His communication was very good. And also in a system design interview, it's never, I know people come with their own, okay, this is the template I'm going to follow, but it's never, you never get to follow the template, because the interviewer, he has his own idea of what he wants to focus on, because he's trying to look for data points. Like, okay, how can I judge a candidate? So he's going to move you here and there, and you have to like go into that direction, right? So that is that. This is all I wanted to say that she can keep in mind. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ankur, for your feedback. So, who can we go next? Naga, you want to go next?
No, I mean, like, I don't have much feedback, but like Sri Prasad, like, yeah, I mean, like, I think you were trying to go in the right direction, and but maybe, I don't know, due to the disturbances, like, I think the flow was a bit disturbed, and I think maybe if you would have spent like time, I think you tried to explain quadries and stuff like on the overall architecture, but like if you would have speeded up like a little bit and went a little further, it would have been good. But like I know today we had disturbances, and I think Ankur was also like asking a lot of questions. So yeah, I mean, like you had a logical reasoning on why you are doing, why you are choosing. So I think like whether we choose right decisions or not, like the reasoning behind on why you think certain things. So that's also part of knowing the thought process of the candidate. So I feel like you are very strong there, Sri Prasad. So I think you can keep up that. So I mean, like, it's not about whether we make the right decisions or not, why we make the decisions, and understanding another thought process, like in a team, like when we are working with others, like each person has a strong viewpoint, right? Like, so understanding their viewpoint is like one of the core thing in a system design, like whether we choose ours or someone else, like ultimately like we weigh each other solutions and see which makes best sense. So I think I like your approach there, like on why you are thinking certain things, whether it's right or wrong, that's like secondary. So that is good. And to Ankur, I think as an interviewer, Ankur, like you still need to keep watch of the time. And in case if you are not getting certain data point or like certain thought which you are expecting from your side, it's okay. Like you can ask the questions, like I think which you started doing, but like I felt like you are not keeping track of time. So that's the first thing. And as an interviewer, I think we would probably want to give candidate a more opportunity to drive the conversation. But like I see, like you are asking more questions and more questions. I know your intention is to get certain data points, but like we want to get more from the candidate. So maybe giving more opportunity for the candidate to explore himself and see what he comes up with. So I see that like here we still missed a lot of design thing, which I feel maybe if we would have given more time to Sri Prasad, he might have come up with some more design. So that's my feedback for Ankur. So yeah, just keep watch of the time, Ankur. I think that's the main thing. So maybe
Yeah,
I feel
thanks,
like
Naga.
you.
Thanks for the feedback.
So from my side, yeah, Naga, are you done? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. So from my side, I think, so first of all, Shri Prasad, I felt you're drawing on an iPad, right? Or a no, something. I think you're using a vertical screen. I thought like if you used a horizontal screen, then you can have used the entire, I don't know how audience have seen that, but for me, it's very small surface to see. Could be if you're doing this in a real interview, I would suggest try with the horizontal view, and that might be helpful. Otherwise, the landscape not being used fully. So that is one thing on logistics. And the other thing I found, like I think you know the entire sequence, what exactly needs to be done, from requirements to clarifications to estimates to high level design. The thing which I can say that which you can do different next time is so so there should be always some trade-off between reasoning. Hey, why I'm using quad tree? For example, sometimes it's easy to start with the SQL. Tell like, hey, the problem could be solved with SQL. This is how the driver location would be keep on updating every second. And if I want to pick up all the drivers near me, I have to query this DB, and this query would be expensive. And if we don't want to go with this route, then I can bring another data structure on the table, which is a quad tree, which could solve this problem with having these all quad nodes, and then they keep on splitting. And you might not want to explain entire quad tree, but if interviewer asks like what exactly is going on, then there should be enough understanding to do a deep dive. So that's what I felt. There should be a reasoning when we bring something in. And apart from that, I think you and Ankur had. I think you have a like. I can feel like there are two engineers who are doing a conversation. Like there are a lot of questions. There are clarities, but there is always a good, healthy discussion. That's what I felt. So that's 2 cents from me. For Ankur, I can come back to that later because I know Shri Prasad has to leave. So anybody else want to give a feedback to Shri Prasad first, so they can go ahead. Or any questions you have for me, Shri Prasad?
I have one feedback for the interviewer.
Okay.
So it's totally fine to ask question to the candidate, and you should ask questions, which you did really well. I appreciate that. One suggestion I have is that rather than interviewer moving from one point to another, let the candidate complete the thought process and then ask the question. Otherwise, what would happen is the candidate gets interrupted very often, and that'll throw off the candidate from his thought process. And as an interviewee, you would not get the signals that you want that the candidate already has, because throwing candidate off the thought process will come in between. And it would help, like, as and after the interview is over, interview should not be thinking that, okay, the interviewer had something in mind, but I had a totally different approach. And I couldn't explain it as much as I wanted to. That thought process should not be there after the interview. It should be like, okay, I explained this approach. My interviewer also thought it is, whether it is right or wrong is a different thing that you can talk in different part. Like in the after the interview, you would have a debrief session. You can talk about that, but it should not be intrusive enough that the interviewee just lose tracks and then chops off to a different point and keeps on happening. There was a lot of interruptions. Probably that's the reason I'm feeling, but that is my humble suggestion to you.
Yeah, good point, Shri Prasad. Even I thought of giving the same feedback to Ankur. Let the candidate finish his or her thought. And here the interviewer is is a moderator. Think in that way. I'm how moderating this session. Like, we need to give enough chance to the speaker to share his or her thought. Although if they are going in wrong direction, also then there should be element of I think that should also come in a very subtle way to change the direction. So any company, for example, like Amazon, they say that candidate is also a customer. If candidate gets a bad experience, you're losing a customer, and the candidate will go out and say if bad things about the company, then the company image is at stake. So candidate is always a customer. So candidate should always get a best experience. But yeah, and I also agree with Ankur that there should be enough data points that should be captured. So there should be a healthy balance between a good experience and capturing data points. And yeah, and for Ankur, I feel I think your natural style is a bit in a way where you go, I think, a bit in a you want to run a healthy discussion, but I feel like there should be some element of calmness and compassion. Otherwise, candidate could get a wrong signal from the interviewer. And the reason why I'm saying that, I can feel myself in your shoes. And like a while back, I worked a lot in terms of articulating my things, and that actually helps. And don't take that in a wrong way, but that actually helps for anybody in this session. How polite, calm, and give a best experience to other person, whether that person is joining the company or not, that always helps in individual career development. Although, so that's a feedback from my side.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I'm still trying to improve myself as an interviewer.
Yeah, and we are all here to improve. So there is nothing. So the reason why we are doing this, because we all want to do better. So in real world, we should have a better results. So try as much as we can over in these sessions. So with this, I would like to give others also chance to give any feedback to Ankur or Shri Prasad.
I don't have a feedback, but I have a question because I'm the first time participant in system design. So for taking up an interview, I mean, not as an interviewee, what is that any initial set of guidelines that you have here to join to practice and then start presenting, I mean, being interviewed?
Good point, Balaji. So we do two kind of sessions, if you see, presentation and a mock interview. So there is a session from last week, I think, from I forget Rabani. And yeah, so if you see, Rabani was doing two things. He was acting as an interviewer also, as also a candidate. He was also asking questions. He was also answering that. So I can feel like Rabani could be promoted to either as a candidate or interview, anything, because looking his presentation last time, I have full confidence he can do well as a candidate or interview. If you have any doubt, you want to first try things, then present a topic, do an open discussion. You will get a feeling like when people ask you question, when you answer, how you are doing. And that's how it's going for. And there is no guidelines for an interviewer or a candidate. We are all here to learn, make mistakes. If there are mistakes, that's absolutely fine. People will give a positive and a constructive feedback and pick that. Today also, if you see, there is a feedback session going on. That's how is a going way. Does that answer your question, Balaji?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Thanks.
Yeah, I have a question actually. It's not a feedback, but I would like to just put it out there because I have been looking into such, user aggregation or like cab aggregation system. So I always wanted to have this discussion that do we need to actually, like, as in this we saw that the model was that we were continuously, storing the location every 4 seconds, and then like we have to store the location as well as if the user, like there was a requirement that I think we did not had enough time to cover that when the user opens up the app, he should see the car moving, right? And that's in actual Uber app, it's quite accurate because if you book an Uber app, the locations are quite precise. So I feel that storing the locations and then reading them and then relaying that, it would take up a lot of latency out of the equation for it to be accurate. Plus, storing that much amount of information solves no business use case other than auditing, which can anyways be managed by another ride management system where you start storing the locations once the ride starts so that you can audit or if some incident happens. So the question is that do we really, like, can't there be, or is there any other architecture where we do not continuously, bombard the DB, because the daily active riders are so much, and for every 4 seconds, even if it's a 40 kb data, right, still it's a lot. Like that's how I'm thinking and maybe asking the question from that point of view.
So good point.
So that is why, Rabani, so that is why I mentioned that you shard by the driver ID and not by the location ID, because driver is not your bottleneck here, right? A location might be, but if you're sharding by driver ID, that's fine. Like in San Francisco, if there are 100,000 users and they all are sending their updates, if you're sharding by the driver ID, you know that they are going to land up in different shards. So your any shard is not going to be a hotspot.
So like,
I have a different answer here, Rabani.
Yeah.
So I was reading this article on grouping the system design. What I felt, they store premium locations in quad tree. That's what is the design mentioned there, because the locations keep on changing on the driver, because here we are talking about moving objects. Then they have this notification service also. So let's say what I understood is when you open the app, it will show you the near drivers which it could pull from quad tree, which is absolutely fine. That's how the Yelp does. But after that, there is a kind of a say, think like a notification service or a pub sub. After that, you will be get connected to all the drivers nearby. When the drivers move, they will send the notification, and based on that, on your app, you would see where they are moving around. After that, it's all about the pub sub model. That's what I understood from that article.
Yeah, this is also what we were actually sort of having discussion in the chat. If you go, if anyone has seen, we were also discussing this, but yeah, not quite very sure whether that model would work. But
No,
I think that is
not
also one
work.
way we can go.
I think
Yeah.
it's like a notification service. Notification, and I think you did last time the notification service,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Anybody
yeah.
can subscribe, and after that, the notification service responsibility to keep on pushing the right set of events. So if you open the app and you saw 10 drivers around you, then we will just subscribe you to all that 10, and then they keep on sending you their new
And
location.
those 10 will be given to me based on the quad tree structure. So
Yeah.
that
So
okay.
if I have to design in a real interview, I would take this approach, because the driver locations are really dynamic. Quad tree could update after 10 minutes or 5 minutes. updating quad tree immediately is also quite costly operation for me.
Yeah. We were also okay. Yeah, understood. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I did not get that part where you said, Ankur, that to use the driver ID. The reason why I was using for the location is for getting the data closest to me when rider checks for driver nearby. If you have only driver ID as your sharding schema, then as a user, like how would I know just by the driver ID whether it is closer to me?
No.
Even I would not know the driver ID also.
Yeah,
I
so
only
I'll
know my
explain. So
location.
Yeah. So basically, okay, so we are done with the driver. Let's say driver is done. We have updated his location based on the driver ID. Let's say sharded, we have stored his update, everything in the quad tree, right? That's done.
Quad
Now
tree,
let's say we are.
Sorry to interrupt you. The quad tree is updated based on the location, is what I'm trying to say. You are telling you update the quad tree based on the driver ID, which I don't.
Anything is fine. Like you're done. Like you're done. Let's say your updating is done, right?
Okay.
Let's say I go back to the rider now. Let's say rider is now opening his app. He sends his lat long, right? From the lat long, you find out his location ID. That quad tree does it, right? So quad tree has that feature. Based on the lat long, you figure out the location ID or the location tile, correct? And then from the location tile or the location ID, you can figure out all the drivers which are there present on that tile. That can also be done.
Yes.
So once you know all the drivers, you know the driver ID. Now go to the shards, get the location.
So that's what I'm telling you. If you already know the driver ID from the quad tree, you know the location. Why do you need to go and fetch the location again? That part I did not get.
How do you know? So I'm the rider. I know my lat long. App knows my lat long. From my lat long, how do you figure out where exactly which? Okay, what is your quad tree? Quad tree is nothing but it is holding 4x4 blocks, right? You said square blocks.
Depending on the lat long and depending on the miles of radius I want, I will get the all the driver who are closest, in this case driver ID, who are near to me from that quad tree.
No, it doesn't happen that way. So no. Okay, fine, understood.
Wait,
so you get the lat long.
I want to step in. So just to give more clarity here. So think the entire map is split into 4 parts. And then we keep on splitting to 4 parts.
Correct.
And then we reach a place like Seattle or San Francisco. So, and then we have all the San Francisco drivers in some quad node, right? So the problem could be here is that node could become hot. So that sharding technique based on splitting the entire map into 4 locations and keep on doing that could be costly at some point of time. Because let's say all San Francisco drivers at one location.
True.
So there are other way to shard it. I think that's what Ankur is telling, based on some other technique where you take some other parameter to shard. So that would mean we'll start sharding or creating nodes in different way. So then San Francisco data could live in 2 different nodes, and then there would be aggregation service on top of it, which will aggregate the data. Does it make sense?
It does. So it's a separate schema where you are storing other location and you're using that separate schema to get more information about the driver, not the location.
Yeah, so it's all about trade-off between how you shard it. So if I would be in a real interview, I would start with this, making the split based on the globe, but the problem there is things like
it can be hotspots.
Yeah, Africa, there would be very less activity happening. Or in US, there is a lot of activity happening. Then I need to think in a way how to split. So my load is basically distributed, but then the trade-off is there is the aggregation service on top of it now.
On top of it, yeah.
Because otherwise I would not know, like San Francisco data is living in 5 different nodes and somebody has to go and bring that entire data for me.
So this aggregation service will do that, right? It will go to all different nodes and get the San Francisco data.
Think in that way. it will do exactly same without having San Francisco data, and it will go in all different quad tree root nodes and do all these things and get the data and then combine it. That's what
Okay.
I felt it will do. But yeah, so I think
So you store data in different shards
but
based.
yeah, for
on
yeah, okay. I think he left.
Hey, I need to drop off now. Can I stop sharing?
Yeah. So thank you, Shirpra, so much
Okay.
for your time, and see you around then.
Yeah, thank you so
One
much.
thing I wanted to ask for the problem being discussed, is there any pointers that we go ahead and do some reading if that can be provided as part of this? It would be
Sure.
helpful to the
Give me a
candidate.
sec. Let me first stop the recording and then we can talk about that.